Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Thursday Fastball with none other than myself, Crusty Canuck. This week, another guest, Mr. Fred Stockman, podcaster, good American soul. You know, him and I have talked many a time on politics on his show and my show, vice versa. And it's been an interesting week so far, I would say, on both sides of the border. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Fred Stockman, once again, welcome, Fred. You are always welcome here at the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Thank you very much. Happy Holy Week, everyone. So, to all you religious people, Christian people. So it's been interesting. You want to talk about culture first?
Culture, eh? Oh,
Satan
well, that's
issues and what else? What was the other thing? That guy riding down to hell on a stripper pole in a music video. Exciting stuff.
yeah, and the same guy that did another country and western song there, what, about a year ago with Billy Ray Cyrus?
So bad. That was
Well, it's just,
horrific.
I don't believe in the devil myself, but I just think the imagery is meant to scare people. But then again, it's just another proof that music has really gone to crap. From
Yeah.
Cardi B playing in tonsil hockey with her friends at the Grammys to, this poor misguided soul.
Yeah.
And his affiliation with the devil. Ooh, ooh. So,
I think it's just dodgy if you're into like worshiping Satan. Like, I don't know. I don't care who you are. That just seems. Even before I was Christian, I was kind of creeped out by that stuff because it's like, whoa, calm down, mate. You're.
well, I don't watch it. That's the thing, because you've heard my stance on music already. It's not what it was. Like there's shock rock and what have you. A lot of artists have done it over the years, but now it's to me, it's just a bunch of talentless hacks. And I don't care if it's R&B, I don't care if it's rock, because like a decent rock song,
It's been a while.
yeah,
It's probably been
and
10 years.
there's bands out there. A lot of bands tour. I just played some bands for you, what have you. There's still some decent bands in the market, like Hailstrom, that Courtney, I guess. I still haven't pronounced that. I don't know. I think it's Courtney. The Australian rockers. There's still a lot of
Listen to them.
yeah. There's still a lot of great bands out there. It's just you got to hunt high and low to find them. But then with the restrictions, it's hard to go see live music. So
Yeah, what I was going to say about music, well, the thing that made this more dodgy is that it's like the guy's fan base is almost exclusively like 9-year-olds. So it's just
that's kind of creepy, though.
It's kind of like groomy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it seems like to me. And I'm not saying wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm not saying the music industry is full of pedophiles, but
Well, I don't know these.
and so is Hollywood too. I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to make too many allegations because that's not right. But I like how the lefty people are always like, how dare you QAnon conspiracy theorists think that there's pedophiles in Hollywood and the government, and then they release music like this and they're like, how dare you? How dare you? It's like,
dare you?
You're hailing Satan as you have dry sex with him in drag. I'm sorry, like you've lost all credibility in that regard. Like you can't come back from that now. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'd say so. I'd say it's credibility is gone.
Yeah.
I would sooner watch that video I showed you there before, the Kids in the Hall skit, Bobby playing with the devil in the garage. See, that's Canadian at its finest.
But that's not like Satan worship.
No, it's not worshiping. No.
And also, that's not meant for children. That's the difference.
No, that's the thing.
You gotta, in this case, like this kid is the Old Town Road rapper, I guess. How old is he anyway? Like, he's got to be Gen Z. He can't be that old.
He's got to be 20 something at least.
Yeah, he's a really young rapper. But anyway, so it just seems creepy to me. But of course, Cardi B and her garbage the week before, just proves how gross the music industry is. But the whole thing about like shock, drama and all that is, it used to not be kids involved. You had Marilyn Manson with like all of his craziness, or Ozzy Osbourne, but like I said, not meant for children. So,
Well, those guys can actually play, though. That's the thing,
yeah,
regardless of how Marilyn Manson was in his relationships or not. Those guys could actually play some music. Sure, add the shock rock value to them, but in the same sense, it's like, well, they can actually do something.
yeah,
I wasn't a big fan of them. I just ever that's okay, another band. But at that time too, when they come out, there were still bands that are worth paying money to see.
yeah.
And there was still decent rock. It didn't matter how old you were. Like when I hop in my truck and I go to town, or if I have to drive to Edmonton, I make sure, okay, I know the rock stations, because sometimes I get bored with my cell phone. But then I'll download a bunch of songs on my phone, so it accommodates the drive, right? So I'll go through my old CD collection, and I downloaded some on my phone. It's like, oh, okay, I remember this song, remember that song, great, okay. And I put together a little playlist. Then every so often I'll listen to the news, but now it's just, so we turn on the radio, it's where can you find any decent band anymore? The top 40 consists of all the garbage.
Yeah. It's it's disappointing, because I think music, what happened was, like, the millennials and Gen Z, like myself, we don't have a shared experience now. So we don't have, like, it's not the same, because you're a Gen Xer, right? You guys had grunge music, essentially. That was your big thing,
punk
right?
and grunge and
Yeah.
metal, and had a
Exactly.
variety. We had a variety of choices. Yes.
Exactly. That was more of a shared experience. Like, it wasn't, you couldn't just download millions of songs and listen to them. You know what I mean? Like, now I can go on Spotify and listen to any song I could ever dream of. They have almost every song ever written on Spotify. So it's like the market is so saturated. It's not like there's eras of music anymore. There's no grunge era. There's no, hippie era of music. There's no psychedelic. There's no, like, heavy metal. Those things, those eras of music where people had a shared experience in that music don't exist anymore, which is a real shame. That's partially because of the internet. But I think it's also because culture has gotten more regressive and all that too. And it's made music more garbage. So I don't know. What the thing is culture is a lot more important to me than politics, because if you have a good culture, you have a good political body also. And what makes life is not politics. Like, life is what your enjoyment of it. So if you have you enjoy your era that you live, or you try to enjoy your era that you live in. And if that era is filled with garbage music, it's a garbage era, or garbage entertainment, so.
I might concur to that. But in the same sense, if it wasn't for disco, you wouldn't have punk rock.
Yeah.
So ironically enough, right? So, I would spend more time making fun of disco, if anything. Now, I'm not judging the credibility of some of the artists from that time. I know Casey and the Sunshine Band still tour. I guess there's still a market for it. There's only one BG alive now. I'm sure he's doing his own thing.
How many members are left?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a sad story, because they worked really hard to get where they were prior to the disco era. And it kind of sucks. What made them famous was the disco era, yet they had a whole repertoire of music prior to staying alive. It's like the last time I talked to you, where I'd say Massachusetts, that's a BG tune. I forget what the name is, but that's how they say it, Massachusetts. So I was like, okay. But now, when I look at the music scene, it's not exciting. Like, it's I can see where you guys lose out, because it used to be exciting to go to an actual record store. You can buy an LP, a CD, or sometimes a cassette, and find your favorite band. Like, I remember when I first started listening to Rush, I had cassettes everywhere, bootlegs, ripped off recordings, stuff I got from friends. I remember that Christmas in 1985 when I received Power Windows in cassette. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I played the piss out of that thing. I wore that tape out. But then in my teen years, I got myself a turntable at a secondhand store, found some needles, and then I started collecting some LPs. And lo and behold, CDs, LPs, cassettes, fucking tons of it. It was great. It was the thrill of the hunt of finding the good tune. And then when punk rock, affected my life, first couple of bands I had in school, just even better. You could bootleg copies of this cassette, or you find a 7-inch disc. Like there were still bands that released that stuff. So hunting for it was always good. You see a band live, and they got T-shirts and 7-inches for sale. Oh, you're on that, like, white on rice. Now it's like, okay, you can't go to a concert because of lockdowns, right? But then again, who wants to go to a concert now with what MTV calls music, which they don't put on anymore, what the
I know,
mainstream
right?
calls music? They'd rather talk about pregnant teenagers and crazy tan chicks that eat deep fried pickles. That's about it.
It's a weird thing. Like, also I would say the same thing as with movies, because I don't know. I was old enough to like see Blockbuster movie. Like, you go into Blockbuster with your mum and go.
Yeah, I remember those days too. Yeah.
And that was an interesting experience because my brother and sister don't remember that because they were born like 5 or 6 years after me. So everything by them was on Netflix and on demand and all that. So it's interesting to see like how that changed. Like actually our Blockbuster is now our bank, believe it or not.
Go figure, eh?
I know.
Yeah.
I remember the Blockbuster because it was interesting. The setup of it, all the walls are painted in this like tacky yellow color. You go in and there's probably like 15,000 movies just all lined up.
Oh yeah, and you were to look too. We had the similar thing too with Blockbuster. We used to do something called Jumbo. That was a chain of stores across Canada too. And you walk in, it was almost like a circus theme. Then in the back, you had the pornos, and in the farther side, the back, you had the really bad horror films. Like I'm talking like guys in rubber suits with teeth that's supposed to be eating people and something. It was just terrible. And I remember a friend of mine, we get all these cult horror movies and just sit and laugh. They're just so terrible. Good and terrible. But that's where you went for a couple of bucks. You get yourself a B movie, a couple of bottles of pops and popcorn. There you go. So.
I always find the horror and porno section. You're like 8 years old. You walk in, you're like
you're curious, but you just weren't sure what to do. You wanted to sneak in there and just, I want to see that.
Mom's looking away. What's that, Mom?
What is it? Yeah, well, what is this? Oh, I'm just so curious.
Look over there.
But then it's like it's my generation. We found the old man's porno mags, and that was it.
Yeah.
Game over.
So.
Well, Dan Van Nuys, if I said that right, Ninhuys, AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Alice Cooper. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You can still find their music, and they still, there's tons of remasters out there. It's good to actually put on some AC/DC once in a while too, right? Even Alice Cooper, I know he still tours. I know he's quite the golfer, and he's quite the charitable human being too. So, it's always good. The thing is, there's a lot of rock fans out there that still enjoy rock. Brian Johnson from AC/DC actually has his own channel on YouTube where he talks to other rockers, what have you. I actually did an episode where he was talking to Dolly Parton. That was kind of cool. Here's Dolly Parton from 9 to 5. And here's, Thunderstruck himself, right? So,
yeah.
But I get a good contrast because they're both well endowed in their musical fields, Dolly Parton did it on her own,
Back when Melbourne was a cool state. Or not Melbourne, sorry. Melbourne was a cool city. Messed it up. Victoria was a cool state. Melbourne was a cool city. Because now it's all locked down. You can't go anywhere.
Well, it's the same thing up here too. Ontario now it just has another lockdown for another month. And now they're looking at, it's the public schools. We got to stop the public schools. And there's no proof of any kind of infection spreading through the public schools. So it's a panic parade yet again. And now even here in Alberta, they're still talking about what we're going to close down, what they're not going to close down. And people are just sick of it. What's it like in your area?
You can't really do anything, so it's really boring. It's basically like a soft core lockdown. So, basically just groceries. Most restaurants are now open, which is nice, but it's still only 25% capacity. Even though even the CDC rules keeps changing. The state rules are just like, state citizens can stuff it. And they're just like, awful. Brutal lockdown. I find it amazing. Like, everyone kind of assumes, like, because we're English speakers and all that, that we're somehow anti, like, tyranny and all this because we fought the Nazis and we fought the communists. We'll never become a tyrannical nation yet. We have Joe Biden, who is
Biden
mask mandates and now wants a vaccine passport to do anything in life.
They want to do that up here too. They want to do that here too.
I was going to say, you have Justin Trudeau, who every Canadian citizen that comes back into their country has to quarantine for in a hotel for 3 days.
Yeah, and I'm happy that Tucker Carlson did that. I don't necessarily agree with what he says all the time, but I like the fact that he's just in your face about it too. It's regardless of how many conglomerates he's worked for, or how conservative he is, or how more libertarian based he's becoming, he's always factual. You know what I mean? He's just in your face, and good for him for actually doing that. And you're not seeing the same kind of thing from our mainstream guys up here who are saying the prime minister's wrong, because, well, the prime minister gave $600 million to the fleggling media about 3 years ago.
Jacinda Ardern did the same thing this past year.
Who did?
New Zealand. Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah. He's kissing her butt big time too, thinking he's doing something good. Yeah. He's basing this whole gun buyback thing on what her example was, but how many Kiwis refused to turn in their guns?
Too many.
Exactly.
Fine. New Zealand government, come after me already. You guys are okay. You guys couldn't even get 80% of the weapons in your country that are illegal right now. You absolute. I don't want to swear because I'm just trying to avoid that right now.
Oh, go ahead. You're allowed to.
No.
I authorize it. You have my permission to drop the F-bomb. You can say fuck. You can say wanker.
No, I'm gonna.
You can say cocksucker. I don't mind.
The police commissioner of New Zealand, that idiot. Have you seen? Okay, he's this older, like bald-looking chap, right? Like, yeah, I'm thinking about the right dude. And he was in front of Parliament talking about the guns, right? And he's like, okay, so this gun right here, and he's kind of holding it like this, like he's never held a gun before. And he's like, so as long as this is a pistol grip and it has a 10-round magazine, it is not illegal. If this has if it has a rifle grip and it has a 10-round magazine, it is fully legal. If it has a pistol grip and over 20 rounds, it is illegal. And I'm like, it's the same thing. He's holding an AR-15, and he's also holding, the Mini 14s.
Mm-hmm.
He's holding one of those. It's the same rifle. It's the same thing. It shoots the same bullet, has all the exact same internals, besides like very small changes, and it does the exact same damage. So that's illegal. Your AR-15 is illegal, but your ranch rifle, your Mini 14, perfectly fine, even though you could kill just as many people with that. The dumbest thing. The New Zealand police are so incompetent that they are like arresting people. Lee was talking about this with me, and they are going after people for like slightly going over the speed limit. Yet the mongrel mob, which is like a gang in New Zealand, just goes around and does whatever the hell they want.
Well, it's the same thing in our major cities in Canada too, Montreal, Toronto alike. Right. I just watched something from the National Firearms Association. That's like our equivalent to the NRA.
Yeah.
And they basically they brought this ex-gangbanger in who around the 90s, early 2000s, he was part of that whole circuit. And he gave the panel the insight in how these guys acquire said firearms. And there's people that smuggle them through gas tanks, through parts of their trunks, through what have you, they'll make connections in the States. They'll buy them legally in the States, like say Michigan or other states. Then they'll smuggle them across the border, rub the numbers out of them, and then it becomes part of the problem. And yet guys like myself and my other friends, your guys are criminals, or you're bad. Keep your guns locked up. You can't use them until we decide to buy them back or decide to pass this legislation. Okay, so, my mistake there, Dan. Yeah, schools are still open. Everything else is closed. Ontario brainwashing my children must go on. Yes, of course. They've got to, condition kids to live in fear, right? And then decide if they or a boy or a girl. We don't know because it's always up in the air, right?
We decide that at 3 months here. Awesome.
Colt says, what gets me is the censorship because conversations contrary to the UN or WHO, but the censorship of stating UN or WHO facts contrary to mainstream new narrative. Yeah, I would concur to that. Right? They keep producing a new narrative. They don't want to talk about real things. It's basically first the conversation I had in my last video when I was talking about Barbara Kay sitting down with Rex Murphy. Fred, Barbara Kay is a renowned columnist, and she's a writer, senior citizen. Not that it means anything, but she's been in the media circuit in Canada now for a very long time. And she had an interview with a guy named Rex Murphy, who was another senior columnist. He used to work for the CBC for the longest time. He used to write and produce such great editorials on the daily events. Now he has his own channel. He does some work for the National Post. But he more or less, he was talking with Barbara Kay, and she more or less emphasized the fact that every time the Parliament does something now since 2015, there's never any real hard debate like it should be in a parliamentary system, or just like in the US Congress before they pass anything. A lot of yays or nays, but there's no back and forth discussion as there should be, right? And effective today, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you just tuning in to the fastball, carbon tax part 2 is in now. So everything's gone up another 30%, plus the MPs that are elected and the so-called appointed know-it-alls get an extra $6,400 this year. So roughly $525 extra a month, just like they did last April. Those mother you-know-whats. So what's that tell you? Yeah. And as Colt says, yes, moving goalposts, the memory hole is real. Yeah, they keep moving the goalposts. There's no debate.
Remember My Body, My Choice?
Yeah.
Where did that go?
Well, I'm my body, my choice. I'm smoking cancer right now, so
Yeah, and I have the right not to take a experimental vaccine.
Exactly. So sorry, I think I might pass from cancer in my 70s rather than take a vaccine and start talking like this the rest of my life. Like frickin' Chunk from Goonies.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though, too. They both, it's mainstream up here talking about the whole AstraZeneca, and people are getting blood clots from this vaccine. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You shouldn't be getting any kind of clots from vaccines. Vaccines are supposed to help you.
Medicine.
Well, you shouldn't be getting clots, period, unless you have a blood condition that is yet to be discovered, But I think the majority of people don't like the idea of getting clots when they get a shot in the name of personal safety. Right?
So much just imagine being Bill Gates right now and being like, wow, these people actually believe all the stuff we're saying to them. Wow, that's impressive. Yeah. So crazy, man.
Well, that's the thing. I'd say I don't care who's rich. Like, you've heard my spiel too. I want people to go out and make money. I want people to thrive. I want your business to be good. I want my business to be good. I want the fans here that tune into the fastball every week. I want them to succeed too. And I believe in a minimal tax and a live and let live policy. Classic liberalism at its finest, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not trying to sit here and toot my own horn, but the basic belief of you say what you want, and I'll defend your right to say it, regardless if I agree with it or not. We can engage in a soundful debate if need be, like we do here. Nice conversation, a nice platform. I'm so sick and tired of this finger pointing and blaming. Oh my goodness, you said some bad words. It's like I said to you the other day in regards to that meme I put up. Well, it wasn't really a meme. Well, it was a thumbnail that I made from an old meme with Justin Trudeau kind of slobbering. And some, yeah, he was just, well, I had some concerned Facebooker who didn't really appreciate that because it looked like cum, apparently.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, okay, if that's what you look at, that's fine. But
gay, so
if he likes it that way, knock yourself out. Why do you care?
Have you seen that video of his wife being like, they're talking with some gay dude, right?
And yeah, it was on the TBI. Yeah, it was a CBC equivalent in Quebec. Yeah, he was talking to what's his name, Gameshi. He used to have a radio show. Good evening, Mike. Good to see you. Haven't seen you well, Mike. So, Yeah, it was. See, I don't care. I've got no respect for Justin Trudeau or his brand of what they call the liberals right now. It's kind of like new Coke, right? Just not liberal enough.
Just Trudeau is like, um, he's kind of he's like a stuck-up gay cousin in my view, and I don't know. That's just me for being an American that I can say that. As a Canadian, I'd probably be a little bit more embarrassed because that's my dad. But yeah, that would rough. I mean, although I can't say anything because we got Joe Biden, who's basically a dead person. So I mean, whatever.
Pickled, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically in the. They've already put the formaldehyde in him. Look at his face. It's all pulled back. He's like, hey.
Yeah.
Press conference of him.
Got a bit of it. Since the election, I don't really watch what he has to say because he's just, I don't know. You can still find links from Antifa connecting to the White House, as far as I know now. So,
what's it? You can do what?
Sorry?
You can do what with Antifa in the White House?
Type in antifa.com and take a look where it goes to.
Oh, that still does go to Joe Biden's campaign, or the
I think it does, or I think it's White House now. Well, I haven't tried it in a few weeks.
Let me try this for 1 second.
Yeah. But, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to the Thursday Fastball. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Tonight, I have. What does that say? Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that. Look at that, Frederick. Oh, my goodness. It takes you right to Kamala and Joe's desk, right?
I like how Kamala is wearing a mask and like Joe Biden is just sitting there without one on.
And he's writing on those $140 pens.
What's that at? What am I signing here?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. We got 38% of the population vaccinated.
Oh, excellent.
Exciting.
Outstanding. Like I was saying, folks, please consider donating if you'd like. Follow the header at the bottom of the screen. All you have to do is click on Crusty Canuck. It'll take you to my homepage, and then all of a sudden there you'll see donations. Click on that, donate what you like, right? And, of course, Mr. Joe Biden himself.
I like them hairy legs. My hair gets blonde when it goes in the pool. I like it when kids sitting on my lap.
That's right. It gets there, doesn't it?
I was born in 1901. That's when I ran for Congress. 120 years in politics.
Gotta love it, eh?
That's not for Joe Biden. Sorry, folks.
You need a hail to the chief in the background of that or something.
I need to give him a little black power fist, like the Black Lives Matter fist. Just go like one of these. Just like, yeah, I'm an activist.
I gotcha.
Look at that young man, whippersnapper, getting involved in them politics.
Exactly. Well, Mike the Pipe Boss, he was a regular on the Hidden Gem live stream there, Fred. He's a Canadian citizen. Like, he was born and raised in Canada, and he spent 4 years in the Marines. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong there, Mike. He spent 4 years in the U.S. Marines, so he's quite immersed in Canadian politics as well as American too. So,
What years in the Marines, mate? Because my boss is a Marine.
I think in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken.
He was 2000s. Yeah. Okay, so you that's interesting. Yeah, Marine Corps is pretty awesome, I have to say. I have a lot of respect for them. I'm from an Army family, so I can't really speak on behalf of the Marines or anything. I don't really know much about the Marine Corps, to be honest.
4 years. Yeah, okay, that's right. Dual citizen. He served 95, 99. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Another question here from Colt. Have you gentlemen had any hope-inspiring conversations while other commoners subjects lately? The other common subjects I have, they just need to give their balls a tug and stand up and speak out and say no. Well, I've had inspiring conversations. Last week when I was talking to Stephen Buffalo, CEO and president of IRC of Canada, Indian Resources Council. He had a great conversation on what we can all do as Canadians, not as whites or as Indians, but all of us as Canadians, to look after our natural resources and actually bring them to market and still balance the power of Mother Nature's love. if that helps cold, right? We're all in this together. And it's because of people that he's had to work for over the years and people that have said things to him, i.e., like our politicians that have said nothing and done nothing but create more bloody division. And I'm sure you've seen that down south in your area there, Fred.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of like when you go to high school in America, which I'm out of now, thank God, they make you read a lot of Native American or stuff about the Native Americans and talk about how the white man basically destroyed the Native Americans and all that. So we basically get just told like, oh my gosh, you guys are responsible for genocide and all this. You know, I mean, sure, there was atrocities and all that. And, you know, it's tragic, but it's just really to divide people, and it's not necessary 200 and something years later. It's pretty messed up, in my opinion. But I know quite a few Native Americans, great people, really in love with nature, as I know at least. And, you know, my brother's best friend of all, like ever, is he's in a Native American tribe. We know their family really well. They're awesome. So. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, and it's a matter of unity and compassion. And regardless of where you live in North America, there is a history that we can share together. It's inevitable. But it's also history too. I'm not partial to the finger pointing. Oh, white man did this, and oh yeah, you're right. Some white people did some really stupid things too. But you don't represent that. I don't represent that. My parents never represented it because I was taught those scruples, right? And it's a matter of personal choices too, right? It's just I just it's so tired of it. It's like Greek to me. It's a different language. I don't understand it. Why is there still such a racial divide here? Because it's being promoted to us by elected officials and, of course, mainstream media, right? So, Zyklon B. I have a friend named Corn Pop, and he kept squirrels in his pants for the purpose of gambling. Okay.
I got a friend named Corn Pop.
Yeah.
Corn Pop was bad.
I got a friend named Corn Pop. He likes to.
He carried around those razor blades, rusty, so when he scraped them off the sidewalk, they get sharp.
What state you in again, Fred?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. How far are you from Boston?
Republic of Massachusetts.
How far are you from Boston?
Not far. About like 20-minute drive.
Oh, okay. Right on.
If there's no traffic. If there's traffic, it's an hour.
Oh, still, it's not too bad. Yeah, I remember, like, say, Boston in 2000. Great city. Had a great time down there. So
it's a very clean city, isn't it?
I was really impressed how clean it was. I've seen Cincinnati. I've seen Detroit. I haven't seen New York City yet, but Boston, I like Boston. Yeah, I like Boston quite a bit.
I've been to most of the big cities around here. I've been out to Milwaukee and the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and then but Boston's definitely the cleanest.
Yeah, I should take another trip now. So
yeah.
Oh, Mike says, "Ha, Mass. Half my family lives off the 495." Okay.
Oh yeah, I live off 495. Yeah, I live in that area.
That's the major state highway.
Yeah, it's up kind of like when you go towards Canada, actually. So there's 95.
Oh, okay, yeah, you can access that via New Hampshire, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 495 is like a major highway in Massachusetts. I live near there. Yeah.
Okay, right on.
Get there at least. I'm not going to give any more details because I don't want anyone to find me.
You want to be docked, Dave? That's fine.
No,
I bring it. I've got weapons in the locker, so. I know I said weapons. I didn't say firearms. So
yes, I have weapons, not firearms.
Any of the YouTube police out there who want to slap my wrist being so scary, stop that. Stop that. Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight is Fred Stockman out of Massachusetts, podcaster, patriot, all-around good kid extraordinaire. If you have any questions for myself or Fred, please put them up here and we'll post them. Keep them clean, but we don't care if you drop an F-bomb or a C-bomb or whatever bomb. Just keep it real, keep it nice, and just keep it genuine. And if you like and hear what you see, please, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Click like, subscribe, share it around, keep the algorithm going, helping us independent folk get the word out there, right? Please consider donating. And you can also find Fred on his show, on Anchor FM. Just follow the link at the bottom there too.
Also, YouTube is my main one. I haven't been posting too many podcasts lately because of
Work, busy.
yeah, but it just takes too long to do a podcast. Nothing against it, but it just I don't know. I can't. I have to sit down and do them with someone, and I hate doing them alone. I like to have someone else to have a chat with because if I do it alone, it's boring. But
I know. I hear you. That's why I do the once a week live streams here too. Try to get a guest on. But let's say I just try to get out there and I just speak my words. I'll sit and I'll formulate things. I had a couple of fans kind of give me a hard time because I wasn't telling their story right away. But it's like, well, I never signed on to do biographies for people yet, per se.
no,
But just like tell my viewers out there too, if you have an idea for me, please send it my way. But I can't always act upon it promptly because I work solo here. So until I actually generate some revenue to get some staff to help me with things, then I can probably formulate a great episode for you if you'd like. But in the meantime, what you see is what you get. So we got some more questions here, Fred. Let's see. Oh, Mike the Pipe Boss. It's a real hardcore blue state.
yes, yeah,
I've always noticed that with like when I was down in Boston, it was very Democrat. Yeah.
yeah. It's well, it used to be more like common sense Democrat. Like I'd say up
Mm,
until about 2012 or so.
mm,
Like you know, it wasn't like really socially liberal. It was more like economically liberal.
mm,
Because we have a very big Catholic population in my area.
mm.
There's a lot of Italians and Portuguese and Irish people.
Oh,
So
the Boston Irish. Yeah.
Boston Irish, yeah. So you know, it wasn't really like the whole gay pride thing wasn't. Let's just say they weren't too impressed, the older generation. But now that since there's not many of them left, unfortunately, you know, you got all the weak kind of you know, feminized people hipsters running the cities, and it's just not good.
Well, that's what I noticed too. My wife, she likes to watch a few YouTube channels. I forget the names of these individuals, but if you know, she likes makeup and hair and stuff like that. And there's a couple of people that she tunes into, and it just grabs my attention every time I hear it. And there's always this guy with a lifty voice talking about mascara, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. When I hear that, I just
Yeah, I'm not for bullying gay people or anything like that.
no, neither am I. Neither am I. I
But,
find it hilarious.
yeah,
Always some dude talking about mascara. I'm like,
you know, I find it
okay,
because I didn't
sure.
really grow
Yeah.
up in Boston. Like I grew up in a rural area in like New Hampshire mostly. I mean, I lived in Massachusetts for a while, but you know, where I spent a lot of time was New Hampshire, and you know, you, none of this stuff was really a thing growing up. Like, I don't
Mm.
understand why it's become such a big deal. Like, I knew probably like one gay person, but all the country gays are like, I don't know, strong people. I don't get it. It's weird. It's like, it's not like this little dude with like small arms and just really tiny. It's like this cowboy looking bloke. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I mean, I'm not gay, but that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because when I see just like two really feminized men, it's like if you're into feminized individuals, why wouldn't you date women?
I don't know. My gay friends, I've asked them that too, but I did it sarcastically, because I
Yeah,
personally don't care who is or who's not. What I care is that you live your life the way you want to, and you don't hit people and take their stuff. You
yeah.
know. What do you think about the democratic system without parties? Everyone is elected as an independent, kind of like a municipal government, but federal and/or provincial. Well, from a Canadian point of view, Justin, I would say yes, that would be a great idea. Um, the thing is, you have to really fight hard to prove your independence too. And from what I understand of the parliamentary system, if the majority passes something that you got to vote on, I would say it's better with a party rather than just independent. Independents so can side with whoever they desire, but in our system, we're not seeing enough independents and enough representatives representing constituency. They're all into it for the party. Fred, how does it work for you guys?
Completely party based.
Yeah, so Democrat, Republican, and then you
The,
might have the odd independent,
the thing is,
maybe.
though, it's like the Libertarians and the Green Party have no real control over anything. Um, And whether you like that or not, it's just the truth. You can't really win the presidency as a libertarian, unfortunately. I think the president, or I wish we voted for him as president, and would have changed America a lot, is Ross Perot. I'm sure you guys know who he is.
Yeah, I remember Ross Pro. Yeah, look here, see, look here, see. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. See,
interesting chap.
look here, see, look here, see.
And here's the thing about Ross Perot is I actually agree with like 90% of what he says. In his party idea, he was Donald Trump and him were good mates, and Trump's platform was very much similar to Ross Perot's platform of the 1990s, which is why I think we should have had Ross Perot. If Ross Perot would have been president, we wouldn't have had the Bush situation, and he might not have had an escalating war on terror the way we did. The Middle East might not be as messed up as it is right now, and there'd be less dead and injured soldiers coming back. Because that's more what I care about. I could care less about what the tax rate is. I'd hope it would be lower, but I prefer less dead people. That's my thing.
Well, that's the thing. Unnecessary wars too, because I remember back in the early '90s when the first Gulf War happened, and I remember during it and just after it, you can go to your favorite comic book shop and find trading cards of the war. Interesting. I've never at the time I never saw it before, so I was like,
Yeah. I love that
nice.
camo though. I want a set of it so bad. I want it in the third pattern jungle greens, like the Vietnam cut uniforms.
Oh, the tiger stripes.
No. You know how the Vietnam uniforms have 4-pocket shirts?
Okay, yeah.
It's like that, but they're in like the World War II paratrooper cut, so they have an angle to them.
Okay, I think I know what you're on. Mike the Pipe Boss, 20 years of war, nothing to show for it. Leadership is non-existent these days. Yes, I agree. Especially after Canada's contribution to Afghanistan. The amount of guys I know personally that have came back and still getting it 2 times Tuesday up the chuff in regards to paperwork and bureaucracy, and not to mention political cabinet shuffles in the name of Veterans Affairs, everything from shameful Seamus O'Regan to the clown they have now. They really, you nailed it in the head. There's no real leadership anymore. They just token word salad fucking promoters, if anything. Colt W, there is no right to life, not to have your feelings hurt. The push to override individual rights for the prospect of the right not to be scared off or offended is disgusting. Well, yeah. Individual rights is key. But those are being sequestered every day when it comes to freedom marches, when it comes to people on here, online, writing articles, whether it's doing blogs, or vlogs, podcasts, even mainstream media aficionados. Now we're seeing them eat themselves raw. Look what Disney did to Gina Carano, for crying out loud.
That's so stupid. Gina Carano, sweetheart.
I got a lot of respect for her because she stood her ground, and I read part of her bio where she grew up in Vegas, and it was a rough area. So, she had to kick ass and take names.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like she was just, rich girl that fell into fighting and became a kick-ass athlete. She grew up kind of hard, so she knew what it took. Got a lot of respect for it because I think she did a great job in The Mandalorian. So, but I haven't read too much info on that lately. So, sorry?
I want to be deleting Disney Plus. My sister likes one show on there, so I'm keeping it for a couple more months. But I'm going to be deleting it soon because.
Oh, my wife has it. She pays for it. That's on her. Like I'll watch the Falcon and the Snow and the Winter Soldier. Right. A bit of a old comic book geek in me coming out, but
the problem
I enjoy the man.
I just can't support an organization that's that treated her that bad and also makes movies in communist China and basically uses concentration camp labor to make them. So,
well, that's the thing. They're kissing China's butt. So, but we're no different here. We've got leadership that wants to give China the leeway, right? So, woke ideology is a social credit system forced by corporations. Yeah, that. So it's almost like Brave New World and 1984 combined with a little dash of Stalinism.
Have you seen the what is it, the something for your financials now, where there's an is that what he's talking about, the ES something score on your financials?
Social credit, like they had in China, like
Yeah,
they would monitor you, and like, so you crossed the road when it was too early, or you crossed the road too late,
yeah.
or you didn't show. Yeah, like just stupid shit like that.
Here's how we win, guys. You this is how I think we win this, because what's essentially being created is a two-tier apartheid state, where they're going to treat people that have the vaccine and don't have the vaccine completely differently,
Mhm.
which is obviously unfair. What I think people need to do is they need to go find a rural area, bring your friends that are like-minded, and I'm not saying create like a hippie commune, but legitimately live off the land and make your own industry out of it.
Mhm.
Because it is better for you to raise your children away from these technocrats at home, or in in with other children, but not like in a big school, like with a much smaller classroom, and for you to eat your own food that's not manipulated by companies that are trying to destroy you health wise. And it also will bring you more life satisfaction. That is what I want to do. I'm going to save a little bit more money from my work,
Mhm.
and that's my goal, because I'm not going to take the vaccine.
Mhm.
I don't plan on it, and I'm going to wait a while because I'm worried about long-term side effects. I'm not worried about short-term side effects, because
Mhm.
we kind of know what that is already. It's pain to certain parts of the body, and it seems to
Mhm.
be blood clots. But what could it be, 5 years from now?
Mhm. Well, that's the thing. We don't know. Well, oh wow, great. Veterans Voice, Chris Simchuk. Thank you, Chris. Happy anniversary, Royal Canadian Air Force today. 97 years of history and heritage. Let's keep fighting for Canada. Have a beer, me boys. Thank you very much, Chris. $12. Thank you.
Australia's yesterday.
Yeah, go figure, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting Commonwealth. We gotta have it at the same time. So Mike the Pipe Boss again. Thanks again, Chris, for that. Appreciate that. System we live in is more like oligarchy in ancient Greek times than anything else. I could concur with that too. Every premier is stepping up and promoting these ridiculous restrictions and lockdowns, and yet they still travel around, gallivant like their shit don't stink, right? So
How did Ted Cruz get to go to Mexico when he's in Texas?
I don't know. That's still a mystery. We have politicians up here too who did the exact same thing. They had lockdowns during Christmas, and they still managed to go to Ireland, Barbados. There's actually a rumor that one of our justice from, I think it was Ontario Supreme Court, was actually conducting the court via online at his villa in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Hmm, go figure. Now that's speculation. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but there was something that this judge apparently did, right? So Dave Hemington, basic income will be followed by the social credit system. Do what you're told to lose your check. Yes, you've walked the line, you've show your needle book, and you'll get no UBI if you don't walk this way. Yes, yes. We have ways to make your talk. What do you say,
Fine.
Frederick? Well,
Hey,
that's the thing. We gotta.
Klaus Schwab, we are needing a great reset.
Yes, you will do what you're told and like it. We have all.
You will give me all of your money. I am definitely not a Bond villain. Okay,
Yes,
stop
right.
there.
Mr. Blofeld. Yes.
Not cool.
Well, that's the thing. They're trying to pass up here. I know it's gone. I think the first reading, Bill 273, the UBI, basic universal basic income. So more or less, it's another government teat for people to suck
Hi,
along.
I'm Andrew Yang. Time to get your universal basic income, bros.
Mm.
And he's like riding a skateboard down the stage, like, yeah, universal basic income.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
yeah. Look after my sorry ass because I'm afraid to do it
Just
myself.
don't tax me.
Yeah.
If you're going to re-hand me money, you just don't take that money out of my pocket in the first place. Right?
Well, that's the thing. It's, I can understand people need it, but that's why you have cities setting up welfare stations. So if someone needs welfare and they need assistance, they can do it. You don't need it on a federal level. Look at the crap that people have gotten in trouble with when it comes to the CERB and the SEEB up here, or down there, the $1,200 a month you got when the lockdowns was going on. How many people actually needed it compared to how many people took advantage of it?
Everyone used it to buy GameStop stock, basically. That was like 90% of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Colt W.
Half joking on that.
Foundation after foundation run by philanthropists, warmongers, little Nazi, on and on, controlling corporate and global policy. Yes, an example we have that here's the We Foundation. And I guess down there, the Make Way / Tides that has their grippy hands in Canadian oil. Mr. Joe Biden, Miss Jane Fonda, and the other aficionados. Yeah. What? What are you talking about? Come on, give me a cocoa.
Jill, where's my cane?
No,
where's that little kid
you're right there. Yeah, right there. Justin Mears, opinions should be considered immutable characteristics. That would make political violence a hate crime. Fuck Antifa. Well, opinions are still opinions, but I agree with you. Fuck Antifa. Right?
Imagine being such a weak loser that you decide, I'm going to join Antifa and beat up old people.
Well, I'm against fascism, and I'm also against communism. I'm against totalitarianism. So, Antifa looks good, but they smell terrible.
The thing is, mate, I think this is where I start to, one part I disagree with is that I'm not like a free speech absolutist where I see something, I see degenerate behavior on the left and I'm like, yes, I would die for that person to say that or do that. And I'm just like, I really wouldn't. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't think you have the right to say things and do degenerate things and all of this stuff. Like if you're someone, not necessarily an Antifa, but like one of these left-wing activists that's like yelling at Trump supporters, calling them all fascists and flipping them off. And I just think you're a degenerate. That's not how we should behave in polite society. Okay.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. You
Now,
shouldn't do that, but I'm not going to stop them from doing it. Speak your mind. Yes. But bring facts to the table if you want to engage in debate.
No, but you're not an intellectual. If your job is, I'm going to go on Twitter and say nasty things to people. In all fairness, I used to have Twitter, and that's what I would do. So I'm not going to say like that's not a good thing. Don't do that. But even in the real world, I'm not going to defend your right to. I wouldn't die for you to say that. You know what I mean? I'm a free speech advocate. I'm a fan of it, but I'm not a fan of degeneracy. And we see too much of that in the modern world. And, I'm just not a fan of it,
Okay. Well, a given. It
is.
I don't care if Antifa shows up at this rally or if this group shows up at that certain rally.
As long as if they hit someone, then.
Well, see, that to me, then gloves are off. It's a fucking hockey fight. Yeah. That's it.
If you guys wish to show up, hold your little signs, flow your pink hair or whatever over everyone and basically say F me or whatever. Whatever. I mean, you guys are losers. There's a reason why you spend all your time doing this stuff. The line is drawn when you start putting people on doxing people, which is actually a crime. It needs to be a crime.
You guys catch the news? The NDP are going to debate phasing out the Canadian Armed Forces as party policy. No, I did not, T4666. But it wouldn't surprise me how the NDP might table things to try to win votes to make some extra money for the so-called upcoming election.
Time to buy some CAD pads.
Yeah, well, hey, CAD pad be available for you. I don't know. What would their plan be though? Too, it's like we've had this. We've had this issue before when they talked about the airborne problem back in the 1990s. They wanted to phase out the military then, but then government spending towards military was garbage. They did everything in a shoestring budget. A lot of brass got a few perks and a few bucks, but a lot of the troops got sweet FA. There were troops that trained me that were working 2 jobs just to keep a roof on their head, over their heads. So I don't know. Like, where do these guys get off even thinking that? That's the thing,
Wasn't the Canadian military still using equipment from like Vietnam back in the 1990s?
Yes.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
It was very embarrassing. I remember some of my instructors telling us stories about some of the tactics. They would train modern tactics, but they'd be using this old machinery.
Nothing against like M56 webbing or whatever you guys were using. What do you guys have, like Canadian modified webbing or something like that? I forget. 82 Curtin.
It used to be called the 82, the web gear. And we used to have old guys used to swear by it. And you'd be doing a section attack or getting up, up, down. She sees me, forward maneuvers, and then
I like
piece of it would fall off. You'd have to tape it, but then you have old sergeant majors that refuse to let you tape it or tie it. Nothing wrong with the Velcro. It works. It works. God damn it. And just stupid things like that. I'm sure any of the CF veterans from the 90s could verify that for you right here and now.
I don't like the old web kit of I like the old M56 web kit. That's my favorite. Like when I go to the gun range with my uncle, I always wear that with me because I put the AR mags inside them because you can reload pretty fast. I'm not a fan of chest rigs because I feel like the ammo is too close to me. But I wasn't a soldier, so I don't know what to say.
Well, it varies. It's comfort. I prefer the vest kind of style too. Yeah. What I had overseas was a vest. It was like you slip it on, you get your mags here. But I also carry a lot of my mags in my side pouches. I added pouches to mine too. I had a drop pouch where I use a mag, drop it in, carry on. But I also had the radio too. So if I'm on the net, I'm basically holding my rifle in one hand and I got the phone in the other. So it's not like I'm being hardcore special operator here. I'm just the radio guy and I'm a target. So, when I did fire, okay, I never really emptied a magazine. It was a couple of shots here and there, right? And then at a reorg, okay, I'd reload my mags, make sure my kit was good to go, but batteries were charged and ready for the next patrol, per se. They're going to debate making that part of their party policy, True North. Okay, I'll look at True North then later. Thank you, T, for 666.
Canada don't have a military anymore, basically?
Well, I'll have to see the story there, Fred, when I can. Let's see. Oh my God, push-ups, no. Another fellow vet there. So the CAF is phased out. There's almost a door for anyone out there for military to take over. Well, possibly, or who knows? I doubt anything's been tabled yet. But for any politician to bring that to the table, just the same as Stephen Gobert, Mr. Heritage Minister, trying to censor the news and online activity as we see it. Why would anyone in the right mind want to table that legislature and sit there and say, oh, Canada, we're changing forward and we're all unified and diverse, and yet anything diverse comes to the table, you annihilate. So we'll have to see.
I think one thing that was kind of related to the military thing was I believe Australia had a problem. This is what I've at least heard from my mate who's in the army right now over there. He was telling me that they had some really poor funding in the 1990s. So when they were going into Afghanistan, they were still using like web gear from back in Vietnam or like similar web gear. It hadn't been updated. So, I mean, it was insufficient, it was an issue for like fighting in that terrain. So, I mean, it's always, you do need military spending. You do have to keep you guys in, good condition, because you never know when you're going to have to use it. God forbid. But, it's the reality. War sucks, but.
Well, yeah, it does, Fred.
You shouldn't be disbanding. I don't think you should disband military forces like that. But I don't know.
Well, Mike, the pipe boss, I guess he uses his own Marine Corps gear. I have a 64 rucksack frame setup. I enjoy that too. I just find it very comfortable. But I've modernized it. I've reinforced the field pack, and my valise is pretty strong. I still use that once in a while. I go for little walks. But yeah, it's just the way that pack sits on your back is fantastic. My preference would be just a tactical vest per se. That's just my preference. Let's see here. Another more. So if they pass that party policy, there's definitely going to be a full retard. Well, then again, T466, they're NDP. Now, when Jack Layton was the leader, now I had a lot of respect for Jack Layton because he was articulate and he actually had some smarts upstairs. But who in the right mind likes the NDP? I don't really. Look at what we have in Alberta. Motley Notley, She thinks tiki tortures are racist, for crying out loud. But Jack Layton made a comment about Canada should go back to its traditional peacekeeping role. And yet that proved the point, too, that his generation, my parents' generation, always hung on this idea of peacekeeping, yet they still had no idea what goes into peacekeeping. You still got to train for war. You still got to train for combat, because there's always that what-if scenario. For example, the Medak Pocket. You talk to anybody from 2VP who served during those years, they'll tell you.
So what you got?
Yeah, similar, but mine's more of an olive green, like a bit darker. And the 64 I have is a plastic one, but they take a kicking. I've used it the last 3 years of my career. I loved it. It was great. So,
I have a one thing I really like, and I think it's the best piece of kit I have is a Avon rucksack.
mm,
That's a pretty sweet piece of equipment, I have to say. The only thing
mm.
I'm missing is there's a band that you're supposed to put at the back of it, so like a little piece of cushioning, but I don't have that yet. But it's a pretty basic. It's like a mid.
Foam and duct tape, man.
Yeah, I'll probably just that's now. But
Foam and duct tape.
I want
Crusty, I'd take the FNFAL over the C7 any day. Well, it's a stopping power that's great. The working parts are just phenomenal, lots of them. But I'd use the FN Cal. You know, from audience out there doesn't know what the FN Cal is. It's the rifle that Al Pacino's character used in the movie Heat when they got in that big firefight in downtown Los Angeles. Yeah, I would like something like that. Yeah, that would be really cool.
FAL.
Yeah.
I have to say FAL, go full Rhodesian, paint that thing with the baby hoop camo. Take the sling. You take the sling mount off the front so it doesn't rattle, and you put a grenade. There's a grenade attachment you add on.
Okay.
Good. Make that.
But what I had overseas though was the carbine, so that was effective.
Yeah.
Close quarter, whatever. Yeah, 5.56. But I enjoyed that rifle quite a bit. Easy to clean, easy to maintain, no headaches. I loved it. I was hoping they would praise the pistol because we still had those Brownings, those effing things. But the C8 carbine was good. Probably because we had put more bells and whistles to it too, which was nice. Yeah, the C8.
I saw for sale, which is interesting because I guess Canada's banning airsoft, but they were making on Evike. There was a sale on Canadian. Was it the C? Did you say C8? Is that the rifle?
C8 is the carbine. C7 is the actual service rifle. Yeah.
Yeah, the C7. They have airsoft C7 replicas. I was like, maybe I should get that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, they want to ban airsoft up too for your Fred.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, which is,
pellet guns, airsoft, then potato guns will be done.
Oh, no, potato
sharp
guns.
pointy forks.
Potato guns are
slingshots.
Potato guns are exclusively for just annoying your neighbors. That is exclusively to shoot off something really loud. That's all it is.
Oh, fuck it. I'm going to just start throwing rocks. That's it.
You know what I find funny is, so airsoft is illegal in Australia, but they made their own version of it called with gel blasters. So it's the exact same thing. They just made it different. And they just play it there. It's weird. Stupid.
Well, that's the thing.
That's what I think will happen is like they'll ban airsoft in Canada, but then like 5 minutes later, gel blasters will come out and they'll be like, "Hey, look at this!" And they'll just.
Well, the excuse up here from these clowns is the fact that they're talking about it has no place in Canada. And say, okay, if that's your logic, then fine. Every time you leave Parliament, you don't have armed security anymore.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. And every time there's a parade or something and you're visiting a dignitary, then you allow that dignitary to provide his or her own security and you just stand there and look like a moron. If you're going to set that classic example, do as I say, not as I do. Okay. It's a gun grab here in Canada. Okay. We have the strictest laws on the planet as far as I'm concerned because you have to qualify. You have to pass your tests and qualify. And every card member can be screened any given day, any time of the night, anywhere, all over Canada. So when they talk about the vetting process in the country being a joke, guess again. Okay,
no,
it's not because you have to have your magic card. Okay, you have to have this every time you go to a gun store. You buy any kind of paraphernalia. It doesn't matter if it's ammo or just bullets itself. If you make your own ammo or any rifle or any pistol or any shotgun, you have to show them this as you're purchasing it because they have to take down your number and put it on the receipt. And if you buy something that's restricted, i.e. a pistol or a semi-automatic rifle that's deemed as restricted, then you have to wait. And you can wait a day, 2 days, because they pass your information to a place in Mirror Machine, New Brunswick, where the RCMP, someone is sitting there with a computer, checking you out, making sure, yeah, you're good to go. They forward the information back to the gun store. It doesn't matter where it is in Canada. Basically give you a thumbs up, saying, yeah, he's good. You can take your property with you after that. I waited a day when I got my AR. not a problem. But I had the credentials and do it. And there are people in Parliament that still think you can walk in any gun store in Canada, go, I'll take that one, and then it's given to you. No, it doesn't work that way. So
Same thing in America. They make that same. They're like, oh, you can just walk in and get a gun any way you want. And it's like, no, you can't. Like,
well, black market maybe if you got say $1,000 for a toe popper or whatever the going rates are in the street, right? If you're that desperate to find a gun, I'm sure the black market will be more happy to accommodate you in that, right?
Yeah, I'm certain. Yeah, the that's always interesting. I always find that argument funny because it's like you can't. I know for a fact, like I've gone into gun shops with my uncle and whatnot, and I've seen him do the process. In America, they make you do an FBI background check right there, and if you don't pass it, you cannot get a gun. That's just the reality. So no matter what you're buying, whether it's any firearm related thing, you have to sit there, you have to do your background check, and then you can buy it. The only thing that they don't do a background check on, but as long as you show your license, is ammunition. So that's the only difference, really.
Yeah.
So you can buy, whenever you buy a gun, you instantly get they instantly make you get an FBI background check. That takes about 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty secure. Like the FBI is pretty up to date with most of their stuff. They know your social media posts. They know everything. Not to make it scary to people, but it's just true.
Yeah, and that's the misconception because they look at that with a big black gun. That's scary. You can't have that. Okay, what am I allowed to do then? Only cops should have guns. I don't buy that. I don't buy that logic anymore. So
no,
I don't. That's okay. Yeah, cops are good with guns. They're good to have when you need someone around to arrest somebody and win the firefight for you. But I'm in Toronto for one. I can find a legal hang with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in Toronto, you can find a handgun within 24 hours and making some phone calls. It isn't hard to get what you're looking for, that kind of heat. Yeah, the black market, yeah, that's the thing. And what gets me is that our government knows that, but they won't do anything about it. The same thing with that shooter back last April who caused all that chaos in Nova Scotia. The guns he used was the one that he actually took from from an officer, as well as what he purchased in Maine, right? Or apparently they came from Maine and he bought them illegally. So that's the thing.
Crazy.
The AR-10 is being given to conservation officers, but Trudeau says it has no function but to kill people. Hypocrisy at its best. Banning guns would create the biggest. Yeah, they did. Well, look what they did with liquor in the 1920s. It wasn't so bad in Canada, but down in the States, it was just quite ludicrous. So how do you think Al Capone made his fortune? Buying liquor from Canadians.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and the Kennedys too. How do the Kennedys make their fortune? Buying liquor from Canadians. Oh, those crazy Canadians.
Gotta love the Kennedys, man.
You want some rye, eh? Want some beer, eh? Got a problem there, Joe Kennedy. Take some you want, eh? That's great.
Oh, I deleted the meme, but it was the one about, wait a minute, if I can find this, I'm reading this to you right now.
Okay.
It is about the Kennedys. It's about JFK. It's the funny JFK. All right. Yeah, my brother's sitting right next to me. He's gonna laugh at this one. Okay, here it is. Okay. It's a book report on John F. Kennedy by Adam G. JFK served as our 35th president of the United States. He was born in Massachusetts in 1917, the same year Houdini was buried alive. He liked women a lot, so when Jackie was away, he would host secret sex parties in the Oval Office. The famous women would get naked and dance for the president. One night on his birthday, Marilyn Monroe came to sing Happy Birthday very seductively, and they had sex after, making him the coolest president ever. He really liked driving in convertible cars, which wasn't such a good idea in 1963 when he was shot by a man who must have hated Marilyn Monroe. And at the top of the book report, it says, Adam, you're better than this. F.
Well, hey, who knows what he did? But the point being,
Those Kennedys,
Both
bro.
of our countries have profited, but when you try to ban something, people are going to do what they want to do, you know? And I'm not saying I'm going to, you know, disobey a kind of lawful command I might get from an RCMP officer or a police officer, for that matter, but I will go to court. I will go to court, right? When the government steps in and tells me that you can't have something, you better tell me why I can't have it, other than just, you know, hearsay or speculation or what the press says or what a handful of voters might say. Okay. I'm not the kind of person that's going to rat my neighbor if he or she has 20 rifles or 25 rifles. I don't
Yeah.
care. Now, if my neighbor is doing something illegal, like hurting children, then I'm going to go over and sort that individual out. And I'll tell the wife, call the cops. Someone's going to get hurt. See, that's just how I am as a person. It's
Yeah.
got nothing to do with, you know, what a Canadian is, the Canadian is the Canadian, like our government likes to say. But our government doesn't want to look after Canadians. So, you know, feel free, folks, to ask Fred and I any more questions before I shut this down. Maybe another couple of more minutes here. But please feel free to ask us anything you want to know.
I just have
And
to
if
say
you like
one thing about being an American looking at Canada right now is like, I love how for about 10 years, basically America was spoon-fed how great the Canadian healthcare system was. Yet for some reason, the Canadian healthcare system can barely get these vaccines out.
well, it's not just the healthcare system, it's our procurement system too.
Yeah,
And these are the same people that figured it was okay to buy old F-18s to replace old F-18s. And they can't decide who's going to build ships or not for our Navy. We also have a procurement board that had their hands in trying to persecute and prosecute an admiral that didn't like the procurement process to begin with, because there was contracts canceled with one shipyard when they were trying to be granted to another shipyard. So insider trading, can you say? You know, a little slap and tickle here and there, maybe.
yeah,
So, but that was Admiral Mark Norman. Apparently, the charges were dropped and everything. And there's a GoFundMe page to help the guy out because he didn't like what was going on, and he stood up for the Navy. Good for him, you know. But Justin Trudeau liberals didn't like that. Oh no, no, because Irving Oil is the big conglomerate that provides a lot of oil to the east, Eastern Canada, which they get from Saudi Arabia. So screw Alberta resources, right? Even though we have the greatest oil on the planet. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Canuck, because I know the environmental standards are fucking bar none, second to none, if anything. So,
probably better than the US.
well, we don't have the producing capacity, but we have different environmental regulations. And when you listen to my show there I did with Stephen Buffalo, the land reclamation that comes from what Alberta does is it's beautiful. You know, Jane has no idea the hell she's talking about. So, you know, on healthcare, I know several people that have life-threatening conditions being refused care because it's not COVID. Exactly, Colt. And how the Ontario government is also saying, "Oh, we're overrun the hospitals, overrun the hospitals." It's like, well, no. Now, I saw some stats the other day in regards to that. There's no truth to that. It's just panic and fear. Yeah, we know some frontline workers are working overtime, getting things done. But there's also been a lot of people who've tried to investigate these hospitals too, and they weren't even allowed in the parking lot with their cameras to take pictures or anything of these so-called overwhelmed wings. So, yeah, that's the thing.
The hospitals are empty, folks. Don't be lied to.
Canada's no vaccine. They thought China could fill any orders and get it done. Well, yeah, you
Good
know,
job,
and
King.
well, that's what gets me, because our allies across the pond, Britain, Germany, France, they can get the vaccines. Our friends in the States can get the vaccines. What's Canada's excuse? I would say it's a procurement board with whatever wheeling and dealing they're doing,
I
right?
think
Because I remember when
no reason for you guys to have any rights. Because that makes me. I mean, it's cynical of me to say this, but they basically, I think, governments have gone to the point where they're afraid to lose their power. That's why they
Mhm.
don't want to issue these vaccines out.
Oh, of course,
Or when they do
especially
issue the
they
vaccine,
examine that example.
or
Exactly.
yeah, or when they
No.
do issue the vaccines, they want to give you a passport, so they have to take your rights in another way. You know, it's very cynical, but it's completely possible. You know. I hate to think like that, but
Mhm.
judging by the last year of incompetence on both sides of the border, I
Mhm.
mean, it's impressive, you know, how badly things were run in both Canada and the United States.
Mhm.
What a joke.
Well, the thing is, too, up here, the people that have had their 2 shots, they're still being told they can't go anywhere or do anything.
I know. Same
It's
here.
like, okay, so I have these vaccines. I guess I'm good to go now. But what am I allowed to do? Are these vaccines going to protect me from this, or what? What's the scoop?
It's
Right?
all a scam to make the big pharmaceutical companies money. That's what it is. Yeah, so don't be scammed. The more of us that say no, the less likely these people will trample on our rights. So they don't want to give up their power, and they've been on a power high for too long. So we just got.
Precisely.
There's a lot of power in saying no. You know.
It's A's game. I'm not sure if you saw my comment on Facebook, but I highly recommend you look up what the NDP is moving to debate in general abolishing the calf. Yes, I will look that up in the moment here once I'm done here with my guest Fred. By all means, I'll check it out. It probably is. Is it on CPAC or is it on CTV Newsnet? Which is it on? Probably CPAC, I guess. However, so yes, I will look at that. It's A game for sure. You know. Ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to ask myself, Fred, any other questions. I'm going to get this another 5 or 6 minutes, then we'll shut her down. If you get a chance, please check out the Veterans Coalition Party of Canada. I'll leave a link here for you all to look at. Please check it out, what we stand for. I am going to throw my hat into the federal election come the next federal election when they call it. That's if they call it, either June or September. I will be running for the Crowfoot Battle River riding. So please consider the Veterans Coalition Party. You have a choice, ladies and gentlemen, not just your typical blue and then red, maybe a bit of orange, maybe a bit of green, but you got the Veterans Coalition goal. Common sense politics, grassrooted and blue collar mentality. Give it a shot, check it out, and donate to the party if you can. We're not going to demand donations by all no means. We're doing this on our own, getting the word out there. So you, my viewers and fans alike, please check out the Veterans Coalition Party of Canada. And if you get a chance, please check out my shop. I've got swimsuits, got hats, got shorts, got shirts, got mugs, got paraphernalia with a Crusty Canuck logo. Please check it out.
You have a mug.
Bring it. I got a mug. I got a few mugs
You're
actually.
playing
A
the
few
Steve Shadow move. You're like,
Well, I might do the mug club, but I don't want to rip off the guy. I like his show. I don't want to take his stuff.
I
But
think
if
he's banned from YouTube for a bit.
he was again, apparently, yes.
That's pretty lame.
Was it True North? Okay. Yeah, I'll look it up, A's game. I'll look at the article for it there for sure. But
Steven Crowder is the man. Okay,
I like his work.
I wish I had that. Well, no, I don't. I wish I had his job because his job doesn't seem too fun. But I just wish I could be a podcaster and work out. That would be awesome.
Well, like what I'm doing now, I've been doing this now for about 2 years, and I'm just starting to get hedgeway. So, but that just comes from hard work and dedication too. And it also takes viewers like yourselves out there. If you want to donate, please consider donating. Go to crustycanuck.ca. Once you click on the page, you'll see the donations on your right. Click donations if you want to. I'm not going to say give me cash, but every little bit helps, ladies and gentlemen. So
I have a feeling I'm going to get banned soon, folks. So if you can come and subscribe and see my last few videos before they get completely taken down. I'm on my second warning, so there's only so more I can have before they boot me off YouTube.
Yes, please check out Fred Stockman at Anchor FM, or just find Fred Stockman on YouTube. Check out his work too. Down to earth, homegrown talent, Mr. Fred Stockman, ladies and gentlemen. Mike the Pipe
warnings on
Boss.
Instagram too.
And what again? Sorry.
I got some warnings on Instagram. They slapped me for hate speech.
Hate speech. What would you say? You hate taxes?
Well, I said transgenders shouldn't be in the military.
Well, hey. I'm not going to say anything about that.
Offended.
Oh my God. Pansexuals. Yeah.
Pansexuals? You mean licking a pan? Wow, that's
smacking pans, I guess. I don't know.
smacking pans. Yep.
To me, it's just like bisexual. It's just they say, well, because you love different identities, and say, okay, whatever. Sure.
What's the one where it's like? This is strange. Is that the one where it's they like everyone basically?
As far as I know, it is. Yeah.
That's so crazy because it's like then there's people that are like, so are pansexuals pedophiles? And they're like, no, I'm not a pedophile. It's like, oh, so you like old people? It's like, and it's like, geez.
Well, everything's open to criticism too. That's the thing, and I wish people understand that.
Come on, you can criticize straight people all the time. I don't even care.
Yeah, whatever. You know, I'm not offended. I don't get offended if someone says, "You're straight." Yeah, so okay.
Straight white male.
Shit, who knew?
We
Mike the
exist.
Pipe Boss. Remember when Obama was addressing Parliament, practically begging for Canada to do more of the lifting in NATO overseas? Liberal Messiah himself. Yes, and even Donald Trump told us.
Hope and change.
Well, the thing is getting our 2% GDP, and I think up until last year we were 1.4%, so we weren't lifting our weight. And Canada's had that problem for the longest time. I'm thinking since 1968. You know, when they amalgamated everything. You can thank the Pierre Trudeau Liberals and his aficionados who've done that. But yes, exactly. You know,
America, why are you guys fighting in the Vietnam War? Oh my God.
Yeah, and Canada was making lots of kit for the Americans for the Vietnam War.
How bad? And they're like pushing M60s out the back door.
Well, everything from berets to bootlaces to Jeep parts to mortar parts to certain mechanisms, I think, in the actual mortar they were using at that time.
Yeah.
So Canada was making a lot of kit for the United States services. So
M60. This is my favorite conspiracy, and if you guys know, just type it in the chat. But this is about the Obamas. So if you know, you know. Have you seen this one?
It's kind of familiar. Yeah.
It's the one about they think Michelle Obama's a man.
Oh, yeah.
It's more funny. I don't actually believe
maybe she was. I don't know.
Dumb, but it's so funny. It's like the best trolling move, you know. And I'm an absolute internet troll, by the way. Like I do stuff. I called this communist kid. I just on like a fake account, just like you're a soy boy cuck face, whatever. I said like a bunch of horrible stuff. But this must make the Obamas so mad, as it's everywhere. If you go on Gab, like the first thing you will see is about Michelle Obama being a man.
I couldn't tell you. I know Roosevelt's wife was bisexual. You know, they told us that in high school history. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, here I am, 16 years old, listening to high school history, going, oh, what does that got to do with the story? You know, like, who cares? You know, but that's what gets me. What else am I going to say here? I got more questions here. Yeah, feel free, folks. Ask us anything. We're going to shut this down in another 5 minutes. Welcome to the Crusty Canuck Thursday Fastball. My guest is FRED Stockman. Sorry?
Just so you know, guys, I don't actually think Michelle Obama's a man. I'm joking.
Okay. Oh, you know, to be honest with you, I could care less. They're not, you know, like they had their bad bits. You know, it was funny to watch in 2010 or 2008 when they got elected. I was like, okay, cool, you know. But at that time, 2008, I didn't really have a lot of knowledge, and I just didn't really care about a lot of politics at the time. What I cared about was work, doing my job the best I could. You know, this is well before my troubles started, you know, festering in my head here. And I didn't really care. It was good to see, okay, finally, you know, people can get rid of this racist narrative again, and then just people can just carry on. But then it's like, come 2016, it just got full blown. Oh, it's racist. It's racist. Like, where's this racism coming from? See, that's the thing, you know. And now it's regurgitated up here too. It's just odd, you know. It blows my mind. Like the Pipe Boss, Pierre Senior was a kid dealer. You know, it wouldn't surprise me, Mike. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, because you know he was quite the playboy, right? You know, wasn't his wife, you know, Margaret, 30 years his junior, 35 years, I think, or something like that.
You know, he's a bit
something like that.
Is that guy Macron in France?
Oh yeah, his wife is like 25 years or something.
Okay, here's the thing that's weird. Like, I don't even mind if you date a woman that's older than you. Like, I have nothing against, like, if a man wishes to do that. Like, if there's a woman that's like 10 or I don't know, 15 years at most. But if you're dating someone that's basically your mum, that's a bit weird. I'm sorry. Like, that's like me dating one of my middle-aged teachers. You know, that is really creepy. I don't know. I know people are into mums, and that's a really weird fetish, but such a. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to change the subject here. This is getting a little too creepy, Frederick.
I'm sorry, but Emmanuel Macron, he was touched as a child. I know for a fact. If he's dating someone that's like old enough to be his mum, he's definitely touched. Okay, like, there's no way. you are naturally into like someone that's 20 something years older than you.
Mm.
She is almost as old as my grandma.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to sign off here, folks. Anything else you want to add there, Fred, to the show before we sign off for the evening?
Live the extraordinary ordinary.
Say again?
Live the extraordinary ordinary.
Right on. Sounds good. Well, thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for attending another beautiful Thursday Fastball with Crusty Canuck. I'm working on some pretty cool guests for next week, hopefully, if I get the responses back. But please stay tuned to the community page on YouTube and on Facebook for updates. I try to go live with an interesting guest every week. Please stay tuned to this Sunday. As far as I know, Hidden Gem live stream by Adam Daniel Maze is still a go. I'm part of the panel there. My guest tonight was none other than Mr. Fred Stockman out of Massachusetts, podcaster, patriot, blue collar guy, and just a fan too. So it's check out his work on Anchor FM and on YouTube, respectively. So he's formatting right now, trying to get some. You're looking at another platform to get onto. You were saying?
Yeah. So I'm either going to get into writing, and so because I'm assuming my YouTube is going to get banned in a short while, so I'm just looking for a company that will take me to write for them, or a couple of companies. I don't mind writing for a few papers. I'm starting to get more interested in it. I've been reading about how C.S. Lewis would write and R.R. Tolkien and those guys. So I want to give it a go. I'm not the greatest or the worst writer, but I want to get. I understand that my days on YouTube are numbered. So yeah, I'm just being realistic about it.
True enough. I hear you. I hear you on that one. So, ladies and gentlemen, please consider donating if you can to the Crusty Canuck podcast, crustycanuck.ca. Click on the donation link, take you right to links. I accept all major credit cards. Donate what you can. I'm not going to demand cash, but if you want to donate, please feel free to. And look for my community page and Facebook page for updates. Sometime tomorrow or Saturday, I'll have a new episode up on the Crusty Canuck podcast. So keep your ear to the ground for that one as well. Like I say, my guest this evening was, or it still is, Mr. Fred Stockman out of Massachusetts. Any last words there?
Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for coming. You're always welcome here at the Crusty Canuck podcast there, Fred. So, perfect. Anything else? Tidbits, jokes, limericks?
Me?
Anything? No, the guy behind you. Yeah.
No, I don't have any more jokes. I got more material, I'm somewhat of a funny person. I bring some other stuff up. Yeah. So good episode.
Also, there's other video platforms you can check out too there. Fan here, Alex Monahan, does say, other video platforms. So if you can post links for Fred there, Alex, that'd be really great. Or I can pass off links if you want.
I know there's Rumble and then there's
Rumble's a Canadian company too, so you can try them out as well.
The only thing about Rumble is I tried to sign up, but it's really difficult for me.
I think they're still formatting a lot of things too, but there's also Odyssey and Gab is not too bad. Telegram is good. You've seen me on Telegram,
Gab, actually, as FRED Stock. So
okay, well we can check that out too. So.
Yeah,
like I say, folks, my guest tonight was Fred Stockman, is Fred Stockman. So please keep your ear to the ground on my community page on YouTube and on Facebook.
Yeah,
this has been, sorry?
Look me up on Gab, Fred Stock, I think on Gab.
Okay, well, check out for Fred Stock on Gab as well, too. So this has been April Fool's Day, April 1st. Happy tax and MP payday to my Canadian friends out there. And let's do what we can, look out for each other, do what we can to help our friends and our neighbors out, do what we can to help our loved ones. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, pay attention to my community page for updates, and we'll see you next time on the Thursday Fastball with Crusty Canuck. Take care.